must we put a label on every single thing? I ask this question to society. Can we not wrap our heads around the fact that not everything is one-dimensional? Maybe I am a large deck of cards in the game of life, and maybe I am waiting for every single card to see the light of day. In psychology, there's a concept called schema. We use schema to categorize our thoughts and new information that enters our minds. It's based on stored beliefs we've created throughout our lives. When used properly, it acts as a mental shortcut to make good decisions. For example, if you're looking at a foreign object that looks pretty, your schema may tell you not to touch it, as it has been grouped in your mind with other things that would cause you harm to touch, like a cactus. Schema, however, can also have the reverse effect. It can reinforce stereotypes and prejudices that we subconsciously exhibit in our daily lives. When something doesn't align with our prior beliefs, our schema makes a snap decision for us and rejects it. It likes organization and doesn't like when things don't fit into a box that can be shelved. Human identities, however, cannot be evenly split, boxed, and put on a shelf. We cannot communicate in yeses or nos, black and white, wrong or right, just to tick off society's never-ending checklist. We must remember that our self-concepts are always growing, and our mindset should grow with them. Allow me to use myself as an example. I was born in Canada. I am a Canadian citizen, but I only lived here for 2 months after being born. Am I Canadian? Well, I don't know. I live in Saudi Arabia, so would I say that I'm Saudi? No, that doesn't feel right. So where did I grow up? Well, I moved to America, then Singapore, then back to America for 3 years after moving to Saudi. Okay, so then where are my parents from? Well, my dad was born in Nigeria and has Canadian citizenship, and my mom was born in Canada, but is also Nigerian. So you'd think a majority of my family and relatives would live in Nigeria. Well, no, most of them live in the UK. So, where am I from? If only I knew. When I tell you this question was enough to make me, when I tell you this question was enough to send me into a nervous breakdown. A question that was meant to be answered with one simple word was enough to make my forehead sweat and my hands tremble. My response would be too long, so eventually, after some time, I gave up saying the whole monologue and decided to just say Canada. But then somehow that still wasn't enough. When I was asked the question, "Where are you from?" and I replied, "I'm from Canada," I would be met with the response, "No, but where are you really from?" I knew that they were just waiting to sort me into an African country, just to put me into one of their boxes. Once I said Nigeria, they were at peace with their interrogation, comforted by the feeling of knowing they had finally made sense of me. I know it's never ill-intentioned. You know, one time one of my friend's relatives was told about my Nigerian and Saudi side, and he tried to compliment me. He said, "You know, you speak really good English." To which I replied, "Well, I should hope so, it's my first language." Being asked where I was from became a dreaded question for me because when I wanted to touch on all the places that helped influence and shape my identity, it was too much. And when I only gave one, it didn't matter. These stereotypes also hinder our ability to try new things. They create unrealistic expectations that we put on ourselves and others that aren't fair to anyone. The Disney classic High School Musical is a great example of this. Troy is a well-known athlete, and Gabriella is well-known in the field of academia. But when they both expressed interest in trying out for their high school's musical, their peers try to push them back into their stereotypical hobbies. This is what we do as humans. We try to stay within our comfort zones and only see others like the versions of them we've created in our own heads. This sort of behavior enables fear to consume passion and drive. Fear of judgment and fear of failure occupy our own minds while simultaneously we project these feelings onto others when in reality our interests don't even have to align with whatever we're typically known for. Why is it either or when there is room for both? We as a society must reject prejudices in our minds that are incited by schema. We are not limited to only one interest. We are not. We are allowed to pursue anything we'd like to, even if we end up not being the best at it. Maybe you decided you wanted to be a doctor when you were 8. Maybe that thought manifested, and for the past 8 years of your life, you never even entertained the idea of becoming anything else. You feel as though you have trapped yourself into a box that you cannot get out of, like you've already mapped out the rest of your life. Well, that isn't true. One decision does not make up who you are. Allow yourself room for change. You don't have to be one thing despite what the world tells you. Don't let fear be the reason you don't pursue all the things that you're passionate about. You live and you learn from your mistakes, so do not be afraid to make them. I can't help but wonder how much better our world would be if we all welcomed failure. If we accept failure and welcome the growth that comes because of it, we can also accept it when others fail. As I stand here today, I feel like I'm an imposter. I am no exception when it comes to making unfair judgments of others while being riddled with fear of my own internally. In fact, I am tempted to put this whole argument to rest and just blame everything on Schema and the fact that our minds are fashioned to work in such a way. I could say that we can't help it, that we don't know any better. But I believe that evolution was not in vain. This does not have to be the end of societal cognitive development. It actually can't be. Ever since the beginning of time, we've been growing and progressing as a species. Who says that we're at our peak now? That this is it, and that there's nothing we can do about it? There's still change to be made and work to be done. And we have to start with ourselves. We aren't the sorting hat in Harry Potter. It isn't our job to sort people into whatever group we see fit, to toss people into oblivion on a snap judgment of character. We are all mosaics made up of different pieces, and we have to open our minds to the fact that everyone is different. Different from you, different from me, and different from each other. We can't make change without first changing our own mindsets, so don't jump the gun and tackle society, because we cannot control other people. Begin with controlling your own thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. We have to allow our own minds to be an open space for diversity and character development. We have to fight negative schema. So, knock down those shelves in your mind and rip those labels off those mental boxes. Even if not everything is organized, you will have enough storage space. I promise. Thank you.